For 300 years, Oak Island has been a focal point for greed and curiosity. Since Daniel McGinnis discovered the money pit, men have spent more than $2 million digging for the treasure, unsuccessfully. Perhaps as intriguing as the treasure itself is the question, who took such elaborate means to conceal it? Maybe Blackbeard had Oak Island in mind when he boasted, "I've buried my treasure where none but Satan and myself can find it." Before he could recover it, however, he met an untimely death. All that coconut fiber suggests South America. One theory holds that a Spanish galleon wrecked on Oak Island had to conceal a fortune in Mayan or Inca gold. Others believe the lost crown jewels of France were buried here. When Marie Antoinette was guillotined, it's known that her lady-in-waiting escaped across the Atlantic to Nova Scotia. One search party in 1909 was convinced of this theory. Among the diggers, a young lawyer on his summer vacation, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Recent scholarship, however, has proven the jewels never left France. In 1937, Gilbert Hedden, a New Jersey millionaire, came upon what appeared to be an authentic treasure map. In an obscure book called Captain Kidd and His Skeleton Island, he found a map that curiously resembled Oak Island. But more important, it included specific bearings and measurements. Amos Noss worked for Hedden that year. He recalls how they studied the Kidd map and searched the underbrush south of the money pit.
I got a pick and a shovel, and I went down. Boy, it was hot. Flies, mosquitoes and things bother you. But anyhow, I went around. He told me within 50 feet or so where he thought it was. So I kept trying and trying, and finally I struck a rock. 2 or 3 rocks. I kept trying with the pick, you know. And I tore up the sod, which is about, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 inches over the top of the stone. And I uncovered the thing. I went up one side, and I knew I had something then. I got to the point there was none any further, so I came back on the other side, and I had what he was looking for.
Noss had uncovered a large triangle of stones. George Bates was on the survey crew that rushed to the island to check out this discovery. Would the stone triangle correlate with the Kidd map? They sighted from boreholes found in 2 large boulders. Then, they took exact readings from the map, which used the old English system of rods. 18 west and by 7 east on rock, 30 southwest, took them precisely to the stone triangle. Then, 14 north, tree. The triangle pointed exactly due north, towards the money pit.
This seemed to confirm that the Kidd map did mean that treasure was in the vicinity.
Then, events took a bizarre turn. The book's author came forward and claimed that he had fabricated the Kidd map. Was he trying to conceal his sources? Or was the correlation between the map and Oak Island really an incredible coincidence? Because if that were the case, the money pit itself could be a complete hoax. Montreal journalist Darcy O'Connor is considered the leading expert on the Oak Island enigma.
I have seen the coconut fiber that has been brought up. I have seen reports by the Smithsonian and by independent botanists stating it's definitely coconut fiber. I have seen carbon dating results that Triton has gotten showing that it's several hundred years old, that it's not glacial wood they're finding under the ground, that the metal they're finding is pre-1750 and it's coming deep from under the ground. So there's no possible way it's a natural phenomenon or a hoax. Someone was there at some time, and I can only assume to bury something of great value.
92-year-old Mel Chappell bought Oak Island in 1950 because he's also convinced of the existence of a treasure. He's intrigued by what his father discovered in the money pit in 1897.
Well, when his chisel drill that they were using encountered at around 153 feet, what appeared to be stone or concrete for a few inches, then underneath wood, and they pulled the chisel drill up and put on an auger and bored through 5 inches of wood. The chips came up, and when they pulled up the auger, this little fuzzy stuff was on the screw of the auger, and when they washed it out and cleaned it up and straightened it out, it turned out to be this piece of parchment.
Mel Chappell preserved this fragment of parchment no larger than a dime. Clearly, there is writing on it. Such clues have sustained belief in a buried treasure.
And my opinion, and his opinion, was that it is of immense value, whatever it is.
In 1959, Chappell leased treasure trove rights to Robert Restall and his wife Mildred. They gave up their careers as circus daredevils to move to the island, where Restall was convinced he would find the treasure and make a fortune for his family. He had no wealthy backers and no elaborate equipment. But his obsession carried him and his 2 boys through 6 years of back-breaking toil. Restall and his older son would work all day and talk about pirates all night. They became driven, mesmerized by the prospect of treasure. Mrs. Restall recalls their isolated life.
Well, you had to draw your water from a pond. And of course, no electricity, no radio, no television. We had acetylene lamps. And we had a gas stove for cooking. And that's it. I think I was closer to my boys because of our isolation than I would have been living on the mainland. Not mother and sons. We all became friends to one another.
August 17th, 1965. An old pump was draining a 27-foot shaft. No one knows for sure, but deadly carbon monoxide may have collected in the pit. Robert Restall was starting down when he suddenly became dizzy. Bobby thought his father had suffered a heart attack and rushed down to save him. 2 other workmen failed to realize what was wrong and also toppled in.
Now to get up and be careful, be careful.
The autopsy report read, death by drowning. Mildred Restall now lives alone, still within sight of Oak Island.
At the time, I was up in the cabin, and I know it was after lunch, and I was expecting my husband to come up any time. And Rick came back to the cabin, passed the one that I was in, and went to his own cabin, the one he shared with his brother. And I thought that was rather odd. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he come in and tell me that my husband would be up soon or something? And I waited a few minutes and then went down, and by then it was all over. And that's when I learned that my husband and son and 2 other men were dead. I have an idea that he thinks, at least at that time, he thought he was pretty close. And what he thought and what it was, I don't know. He didn't tell me. I didn't ask.
3 days after the Restall tragedy, a California mining conglomerate moved in. The death toll had reached 6. Disregarding the local legend that 1 more must die, this company and its successors continue the search. After 300 years, the secret of Oak Island has eluded all the resources of modern technology. But treasure hunters persist. The present company has dug down to 230 feet and is prepared to spend $3 million scooping out the entire end of the island if necessary. Whether it's one man with a pick and shovel or a giant corporation with dynamite and bulldozers, an unflagging obsession has drawn treasure hunters to Oak Island. Whoever conceived and executed the fiendish money pit so far has managed to outwit them all.